Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky joined German Chancellor Friedrich Merz in Berlin on Wednesday for talks with European and US leaders ahead of a Trump-Putin summit later this week, the German government said. According to Associated Press, Merz convened a series of virtual meetings on Wednesday in an attempt to have the voice of European and Ukraine's leaders heard ahead of the summit in Alaska, where US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin are expected to discuss a path toward ending Moscow's war in Ukraine. Zelensky and the leaders of European countries have all been sidelined from that summit. Zelensky is due to meet European leaders first, in preparation for a virtual call with Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance about an hour later. A call between leaders of countries involved in the coalition of the willing, those who are prepared to help police any future peace agreement between Moscow and Kiev, will take place last. When Zelensky last visited Berlin in late May, Merz pledged to help Ukraine develop its own long-range missile systems that would be free of any Western-imposed limitations on their use and targets. The Ukrainian leader on Wednesday said his government has had over 30 conversations with partners ahead of the summit in Alaska, but reiterated his doubt that Putin would negotiate in good faith. An anti-Putin protest rally is being organized in Alaska ahead of the meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian leader Vladimir Putin to be held in the U.S. state on Friday. The rally has been organized by non-government organization Stand Up Alaska and is scheduled for August 14, the day before the U.S.-Russia leaders summit. The organizers of the event have expressed their opposition to the visit by Vladimir Putin, whom they described as a war criminal. "We rally against the presence of an international war criminal in our great state." With the governor's approval, the president has extended an invitation to Vladimir Putin, and we're here to send a clear message to both Donald Trump and Putin. Alaska stands firmly against authoritarianism, the organizers said in a statement. Earlier, Alaska Governor Mike Dunleavy welcomed the forthcoming meeting between Trump and Putin. "Today, we remain a gateway for diplomacy, commerce, and security in one of the most critical regions on Earth. The world will be watching, and Alaska stands ready to host this historic meeting," Governor Dunleavy stated. The upcoming meeting in Alaska will be focused on reaching a peace deal to end the war between Russia and Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky last week condemned Kyiv's exclusion from the Alaska summit. Zelensky also ruled out that Ukraine would cede any land to Russia in exchange for the end of hostilities. Ukraine and its allies believe that US-brokered peace deal might force Ukraine to make territorial concessions to Russia. Last week, the US media reported that Washington and the Kremlin were preparing for a peace deal that would cement Russia's gains in Ukraine.
The upcoming meeting in Alaska between US President Donald Trump and Russian dictator Vladimir Putin has made the Z community despondent. Propagandist and ultra-patriot Maxim Kalashnikov sadly stated that the war will soon be over because the Russian Federation has proven too weak. Kalashnikov, known for his ardent support of the war, has published a detailed analysis in which he effectively admits the defeat of the Russian strategy and predicts a quick freeze of the war along the current line of contact. According to Kalashnikov, Trump's meeting with Putin indicates that an agreement has already been reached. Otherwise, we wouldn't have met. That is, we just need to sign. He writes, he believes that the only possible outcome is freezing the conflict along the front line. The Z Patriot does not believe in the option of exchanging territories. One of the main arguments why Putin is going to stop the aggression is, according to the Z Patriot, the critical state of the Russian economy. He claims that the continuation of military actions could lead to a complete collapse and, as a consequence, to a serious political crisis within the country. The situation in our economy is getting out of control, writes Kalashnikov. He emphasizes that American analysts are well aware of the weakness of the Russian financial system, which has not been able to get rid of the oil and gas needle over the past 2 decades. In his opinion, this is precisely what has become the lever of pressure from the US. Kalashnikov also acknowledges Russia's serious technological and military backwardness. He notes that troops are faced with an insurmountable drone line, a 20-kilometer zone saturated with Ukrainian UAVs. He is convinced that the Russian army is not capable of carrying out a decisive offensive and breaking the positional deadlock. The fact is that in order to completely capture Donbass, it will be necessary to storm a number of large cities. The Russian army is not capable of doing this. Trump sees very well that the Russian Federation cannot carry out an operation to break out of the positional deadlock. That is, our country is not capable of carrying out any decisive summer offensive with major goals, Kalashnikov notes with pity. He also noted that Ukraine, after 3 years of war, is not only successfully defending itself, but has also carried out a number of operations that are extremely painful for the Russian Federation. The Z Patriot mentions the legendary SBU Operation Web, which affected one of the elements of the Russian nuclear triad: large-scale cyber attacks on Russian structures, strikes on energy facilities in the rear of Russia, and paralyzed air traffic. In fact, Russia has lost the war. Its continuation poses too many threats to the regime, and apparently, the Russian dictator will wind it down.